For question one of the most meaningful things that stuck out to me was how Matthew's father Dennis chose to go against his beliefs about the death penalty and said that Aaron should not receive the death penalty even though he murdered his son. He chose life over revenge, which is very powerful. For question two, one of the values I identified was homosexuality linked to Matthew Shepard. Even though Matthew's father was Dennis was an engineer, and that being a well-respected occupation, it did not stop McKinney and Henderson from killing Matthew because of their own ignorance. The second example was from the more conservative townspeople who showed intolerance by excusing the behavior of McKinney and Henderson. This was in Act 1. The second value identified was religion. For example, Reverend Phillips continued to preach that God hates homosexuals, even though Matthew was murdered. It was his responsibility to see that murder is wrong and that he should be preaching against murder. His homophobia prevents him from doing the right thing. This was in Act 3. The second example of religion was a core value from Jedediah, who states that he has become much more tolerant of gay people since the murder, and will choose to play a gay character in a university production of Angels in America. This was in Act 2. For question 3, I didn't immediately notice that the play was a combination of people's perspectives, especially because the writer Moses Kaufman was a part of the play. After looking it up, it really showed the grimy feeling that came from people trying to justify their actions. For question 4, the town of Laramie is depicted in a polarizing fashion that is moving towards being open-minded towards homosexuality. Although there are still people in the town that are intolerant towards the LGBTQ community, many people saw the world differently after Matthew's death. The Tectonic Theater Project wanted us to walk away recognizing the fact that although we have made a lot of progress in terms of LGBTQ acceptance, there's still progress to be made. Unfortunately, I do believe a murder like that could happen in Columbus because I know there are people who are still homophobic because of religion, even in a city like Columbus. Furthermore, they would be talking about the murder, but not being proactive to find solutions to prevent something like that in the future. For question 5, the first element was that the Laramie Project had many characters while the Intimate Apparel play had a few main characters. The second element was the non-linearity of the Laramie Project, which had the same story be told from different perspectives. In Intimate Apparel, the audience finds out about Esther's life at the same time as she does, which makes the audience question their own understanding. The third element is the location of the story. Because there are so many different locations in the Laramie Project, it makes the story that much more interesting. For question 6, do you think giving Aaron McKinney the death penalty would prevent a similar crime of homophobia in the future? My second question is, what role do you think religion plays in justifying violence?